Hello everybody, and welcome back to the 5 Awesome Geeks. My name is Dylan, and this week we're talking about some more animes that we absolutely love. Hey, it's all up to you, no one lives forever. By all those pigs out there, it's always been hell from since I was born, so let me violate them no matter who they are. Yes, I did just sing that. And my dad probably heard me and thinks I'm crazy and raping people. But hello! So I have more anime to talk about than last week because there's just too many good anime out there that I can't not talk about these shows. So I'm going to talk about them. I'm sorry if this is going to be a long video, but you know what? I'm going to do it because I hate my life. So I have a good stack of titles here, the first of which is Samurai Deeper Kyo. I watched this on recommendation from Britt because I absolutely love Dan Green. I loved Yu-Gi-Oh! And hearing him in more anime makes me so happy. And this is a really good samurai anime. I love it to death. It's like a little gem in my collection. I adore it. And the bloopers are just absolutely hysterical. Look them up on YouTube and watch them. They're really good. It's better if you've seen the series, but they're hilarious. They're so raunchy and great and wonderful. It's essentially the story of a samurai named Kyo who lived hundreds of years ago, and his soul goes into the body of a young man, a medicine man named Kyoshiro, and antics ensue, and it's a really good show. I really enjoy it a lot. It has a lot of Pokemon voice actors, which makes me happy. And I just really adore it. It's such a wonderful little show, and I love the manga too. It's just really great. So check it out, Samurai Deeper Kyo, awesome series. So this next show I don't have with me right now. My friend is currently borrowing the first season, so I'm going to show you the second season. It's Utawariru Mono. I adore the first season. I watched half of the second season so far, and I really like it for different reasons than the first season. The first season was really great war fantasy anime that I think is really highly underrated. I really loved it, and I'm so glad that we got this season. This one's a little bit more comedy, which is a little odd. It doesn't really have a plot for the first 12 episodes. It's just kind of a random comedy, kind of introducing you to the characters, and then the plot comes in episode 13. But it's still a fun show. I still really like these characters. It's really good. I love Utawariru Mono a lot. And it was just really nice to see the characters show up in the second season later on when they're older. It's really nice, and I really adore this show, so check it out. Next is Xam'd Lost Memories. I adore this show. It's a fun little bone show about a boy who gets these powers, not an alien, but a like mechanical being kind of melds onto his body, and he has to live with it. And there's like war. He turns into like this Super Sentai kind of character, and it's a really great show. I would highly recommend this if you like sci-fi. I believe it's from the creators of Razafan, which is another show I really love as well. Next we have Shauna. I love Shauna so much. I haven't seen this season yet. I've watched a little bit of it, but I haven't watched all of it. I love the first season. It's a fun little show. Kind of loses its way about halfway through the first season. I kind of got a little bored with it, but I still really like the show. I really love the characters, and it's just got a lot of heart to it, so Shauna is definitely on my honorable mentions list. Next is a show I just started rewatching last night, and I kind of realized how much I loved it last night, and that's Ghost Hunt. This is a really fun ghost story kind of show. It's really dark, has some really good themes in there. I adore Silent Christmas. That little arc made me cry last night. I watched it last night, and it still made me cry. It's just a beautiful show. It's really great, really dark and eerie, and I just love it so much. And if you haven't watched it yet, you really should. It's a fantastic show. Then we have Welcome to the NHK, which is signed by Greg Ayres, which I'm really happy about. This is an interesting commentary on depression and loneliness and 20-year-olds, like, you know, college-age kids who are going through some really dark things, and I really love this show. And I also love that Greg actually wrote something on my box set. Most people, when I get things signed by them from cons, they don't write anything, they just write their name. But Greg told me to rock on, so Greg, I love you, you're awesome, you're so sweet, and I missed you. Love you, Greg. Anyway, this is just a fantastic show. You really need to watch it. It's kind of like a dark comedy. It's really great. I love it. I need to rewatch it. I adore this show, though. It's really great. Next is Trigon. The Trigon needs no introduction. It's a very classic anime series. I'm sure everyone's seen it. It's just a wonderful show with great characters. Vash the Stampede is one of my favorite anime characters of all time. He's just a wonderful soul. I really love this show a lot. It's got a lot of heart to it. Has a really emotional second half that makes me cry every time. I adore this show. I need to rewatch it because it's been a while since I watched it, but I do love this show. So, Trigon. Amazing show. Amazing 90s anime. So one of the animes that I forgot to talk about last week that my friends told me about because I obviously didn't have this in my top 10 anymore, it might be, it goes in and out of my top 10, and that is Wolf's Rain. This was the anime that got me into anime and made me see the light, essentially, and it's a really dark show, so that's kind of weird. But after I watched Wolf's Rain, I saw just how incredible anime can be. It's such a wonderful show, so dark, such amazing characters, and it made me bawl my eyes out, and it was the second anime I ever watched. So, absolutely love Wolf's Rain. You have to watch it if you haven't watched it already. It is beautiful. Next on my list is Black Butler. I adore this show and kind of hate it at the same time. There's sometimes I do like it, sometimes I don't. But ultimately, I do love this show. This is the Book of Circus arc, which is really amazing. I really love the characters in this show. It's just so much... It gets really dark in this season. It's just a really fun show, but also just very dark, and I love how dark it takes its storyline. So that's one reason I love it. I also love the voice cast. It's a really fantastic show, and you should totally watch it. It's awesome. Next is Bakken Test, one of the few comedy animes that I love. I have trouble watching comedies. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're kind of hit and miss with me, but I love Bakken Test. It's one of my favorite shows. It's just so fun, so zany, and so wacky. I love these characters. The only thing I don't like about this show is the ending. It's got a stupid ending that doesn't really resolve anything, but it is still a fun comedy that I would highly recommend watching. It's so good about these kids who are in F class, which is the lowest class in their school, and they are trying to become better students. And it's crazy. It never works out for them, and I love it. It's such a fun little show. So Bakken Test, Summon the Beast. Wonderful show. Next is a show I forgot how much I loved, and I really need to rewatch again. It's Dorano. This is the complete series from Aniplex. I adore this show so much. It's just a really fun show. Again, fantastic characters. The plot kind of goes in ways, like, really confusing, weird ways, but I really like it. It's really great. It has a lot of unique, interesting characters. I love Shuzuo so much. He's one of my favorite anime boys of all time. I love him. I love him so much. I'm a fanboy for Shuzuo. I love him. And it also helps that Crispin Freeman plays him in the dub, so obviously I'm gonna love him. But yeah, it's got a lot of weird, creepy elements to it that I really like as the show goes on. I don't want to spoil it, but it's about these boys, or these kids, living in Ikebukuro? Sorry, I was like, Akihabara, that's not right. Anyway, they are just some really crazy, zany characters with some really interesting plots going on. I don't really want to spoil anything, and I need to rewatch it, but I do love Dororo so much. Going along with that, we have Bakugo. This is a fantastic character study on the Prohibition era, and just some really wacky, zany characters. Again, I don't really know how to describe the plot of Bakugo. It's just really crazy. It's about immortals and their adventures, and it's just really fantastic. I can't even really describe it without... because it's kind of confusing, but it is such a wonderful show. I would highly recommend watching it. It's just so much fun. Such a fun cast of characters in this show. I love it. And it's got a really good ending, actually, which is surprising and kind of, like, not expected. I was expecting kind of a bad ending, but it did have a really good ending, and I really like it. It's a really, really great show. Highly recommend this one. So, so good. Next is a horror anime, another horror anime I love, and that is Shiki, which is such a great story. I really, really love this series. It's kind of an underrated gem. I believe it's from the creator of Ghost Hunt, which obviously I'm going to love this because, hello. It's just such a good show. It's so dark and creepy and eerie, and I just love it. I love, love, love this show. If you haven't checked it out yet, you really, really should. It's kind of about this disease that takes over this little town and how it affects the people in the town. And it becomes a really, really cool show with some really interesting, like, themes that I won't want to spoil for you, but it's really, really good. I adore this show. It's got a really big special place in my heart. So I love, 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 love Shiki. Such a great series. Next is the only, sports anime that I love. I don't really watch any sports anime, but I do love this series, and that is Big Wind Up. This is a baseball anime about these boys that form their own baseball team and become friends, and it's their lives trying to become the best, and it's really good. I used to play baseball when I was younger, and I have so much nostalgia watching this series. There's so many things that I relate to in this series. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience. For me personally, I felt really personally attached to the show. I love this show. It's so, so good. I can't wait to buy Season 2, which I haven't done yet. Sadly, it's not dubbed. This also has Greg Ayres in it, which makes me extremely happy because I love Greg Ayres. And yeah, it's just a fantastic series. I would highly recommend Big Wind Up. It's so fun, especially if you like baseball. It's a really, really great show. Finally getting to the Black Lagoon series, which is so dusty. Oh my gosh, this has been in my shelf for years now. This is a really fun show. It's really, really cool, really badass, a lot of fun. I love the main character, Revi. She is the perfect example of a character who is not afraid to beat the ever-living shit out of you. Actually, all of the female characters in the show are kick-ass and awesome, and that's why I love it so much. I love that part of it. It just makes me so happy to see women that are so powerful and aren't afraid to fight for themselves. I just love it. It's so freaking awesome, and Revi is badass, and Roberta's badass. Every girl and every character in this is pretty much badass. Except for Rock, which is really funny. Rock is a kind of weakling kind of character, but that's kind of where the comedy comes in the series, and I just love it. It's such a wonderful show. Please check it out. Black Lagoon. Awesome. Next is a show I watched this year that I almost absolutely adored. After thinking about it for a while, I think I like it a lot more, and that is A Lull in the Sea. There's no other way to describe this series except for beautiful. I mean, look at the back of the box. Like, look at this. Look how gorgeous that animation is. It is such a beautifully animated show. For that alone, that's reason enough to buy it. I adore this show. It's about these kids who live under the sea and their adventures trying to live above the sea with the people who aren't sea people, I guess, if that makes sense. I'm kind of not describing it correctly, but it's just a really great character show. I really, really love it. These kids are so interesting, and they have a lot of heart to them. It's kind of a romance as well. There's a lot of romance in the series that I wasn't expecting. I really was surprised by this show, and it's just beautiful. It's such a phenomenal show. So I would highly recommend A Lull in the Sea. It's wonderful, and I can't not mention it on this list. So, A Lull in the Sea. Beautiful. That's all I have to say about it. Next is Inuyasha, one of the few shonen anime that I absolutely adore. I love this show, I love the cast, I love the characters. It's just a really great show. There are some problems with it. Kikyo. I fucking hate Kikyo. But the other characters are really great, and it has one of the best anime villains I've ever seen in anime. I love Naraku so much. I really adore this show, and it's such a wonderful character-driven show with some really wonderful characters that I love so much. I love Koga and Moroku and Sango. I love everybody in this show. It's just wonderful. It's just a really fun time every time I watch it. I want to rewatch it now, even though it's like 200 episodes. But I love it. It's so, so good. Next is a series that is also extremely dusty. Princess Tutu. This is essentially a fairy tale retelling of the swan... Not the swan princess, like the ugly duckling. And it is a really cool show about this girl, or this duck actually, who comes out of a storybook and into real life, and she uses ballet in order to fight bad guys because she's a magical girl. It sounds weird, but it's such a beautiful show. It's got a lot of heart to it. I love the characters. It gets really dark later on. That's why I love it so much. But it is such a good show. I would highly recommend Princess Tutu. It's definitely a show worth watching. I really, really adore this show. And finally, the last show I'm going to talk about for this video is Mongolian Chop Squad. This is an anime about a group of kids who form a band and do their best to become a popular music group. I adore this show. I love the characters. The singing is great. Who knew Greg Ayres could sing, right? Greg Ayres sings. Also, I believe Eric Vale and a bunch of other Funimation actors do a really, really great job in this show. I really, really love this show. It's so, so great. It's a very good coming-of-age story of finding what you want to do in your life and following your dreams. I adore this show. It's just so, so much fun and so great. I would highly recommend Mongolian Chop Squad if you haven't watched it already. So there we have it. These are my honorable mentions of some of my favorite animes of all time. You should definitely check out all of these shows. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and Melissa will see you tomorrow.